I beat Halo 3 with all hunters. I beat Halo 2 with all hunters. Now, it's time to finish the fight. Want to see 30 hunters in a hallway? How about escorting Captain Keyes through a ship full of them? We got that and so much more. Let's celebrate the release of the remake of Halo CE, and I hope you enjoy the finale of my Halo All Hunters trilogy. Starting off the first level, you can already see I'm intimidating enough that these guys don't even shoot me. They know what's coming. Thankfully, Keyes gives me the only weapon I'll ever need right off the bat. Famously, hunters die in one shot to the Magnum in this game. This does not trivialize this challenge. It does make it fun though. You can try it yourself on Steam from the Steam Workshop. Link in the description. I won't tell you guys how many tries it took me to kill these first 3 hunters because I'm just embarrassed. Going right into the cafeteria shows off one of the best strategies for this run, using human bait. Distracting the hunters with marines is the easiest way for me to give the hunters the backshots they are begging for. Because of the marine sacrifice, I was able to get through the cafeteria on my first try. Later, I got to this corner, and this time the marines would aggro like 4 of them and then immediately die, leaving me to deal with the angry guys all at once. Rude. Then, around the next corner, is 5 or so dudes posted up and not moving until I go in and engage, which usually angers more than one. This part started teaching me how to fight them in groups, and the next hallways taught me how to dodge them. I was able to run through the staircase room, which I thought would be much tougher, and the few hallways after with some bullfighting techniques. Now, it's time for our first, and certainly not last, encounter with hunters in extremely tight spaces. Once these guys pin you against a wall, you cannot move and you are dead. And since the run up to this event involves dodging a dozen or so other hunters, this checkpoint was the longest for this level. After cleaning up the guys outside of the life pods, I finished the first and by far easiest level of this challenge in 38 minutes. Time to learn how to fight them in the great outdoors. We get a lot of practice with wide open fights here because you need to kill like 6 dropships worth of enemies. It's not too many deaths, and only about 15 minutes later and I have my Warthog. Getting through the natural formation was actually quite difficult. I couldn't just walk up this ramp. I would be shot from behind, and the high ground the hunters had in this tight space meant that it was more difficult to dodge their melee. Then, even after getting by them, I still had a lot to deal with to get back in my Warthog safely. After half an hour of beating my head against that wall, I finally decided to just go on a splatter spree, which was way more fun anyway. Why didn't I just do this in the first place? Okay, time to get serious. I know I usually make a bit out of it, but I really tried to save the Marines this time, guys. In the first area, I just got separated from them and couldn't do anything. I was down, but I kept going on to the next area, hopeful I could save them. I almost get these 2 out of danger before, I slip and I fall out of the Warthog. Oh god, oh no, oh no, I'm devastated. Anyway, I don't even want to talk about what accidentally happened to the 3rd group. That's for me to work out with my therapist. Somberly, with no one beside me, I move on to the next level. This one took me an hour on the dot. We don't have a Magnum this time, but we all know the sniper is just a Magnum with 4 bullets. This first encounter is tough because around the corner is a case of tight corridor where the hunters have slight high ground, which is maybe the worst thing to see in this run. Many deaths happened on this cliff, but eventually we made it by. You can run across the side of the next area, but once you get to the narrow cliffside, be careful. Every hunter will be shooting you, and there's a guy behind me about to kill me. The next basin has a huge encounter with dropships I didn't even bother fixing the spawns for, so we will be walking by this one too. But we have a surprise visitor. What is a rocket flood doing here? I rebuilt my old All Rocket Flood mod to re-release on the Steam Workshop alongside this video, and I stupidly built the Hunter version from the rocket flood one. So anytime I accidentally missed an enemy, instead of it being like a grunt or something, it's gonna be a rocket flood. So that's nice. I end up taking the rocket launcher this time to use it for the rest of the level, just for fun and variety. The rest of the outside sections weren't too bad with this, but the inside was rough. There was a cloaking that let me snipe a dozen of them before I just had to fight them head on and do the world's deadliest snowball fight. After a few hallways and a drop down, I made it to the big hangar room. I attempted a rocket jump I did before in my rocket flood video, but then I remembered I don't gotta use the rockets, I can boost up another way. This skip does 3 important things. It physically skips a bunch of hallways, it despawns every enemy on the 2nd and 3rd floors, and a surprise effect which will help us later. Now I can make my way to the bridge. This room was a classic 1v10, nothing I hadn't done yet. A few more hallways and we get to the number 1 section I was dreading in this whole challenge. I was aware of the flood introduction room with more than 100 hunters. I was aware of the tight spaces I needed to navigate in the library and the maw. I was still most scared of this. If one hunter shot hits Captain Keyes, he dies, and I am back to the last checkpoint. If I wanted to kill them quickest, I would just run up to them, dodge, and shoot them in the back. But Keyes and the Marines move up with you, so if you go into melee range, they will too, and they will die. It is not viable to move up to them. So, I needed to stay back. But even when you peek a corner, your guys want to support you, and they also peek. There is almost no way to have a line of sight on the hunters and also not have Captain Keyes be doing something completely brain dead while you try and shoot. I would bring him far away from the enemies and then run up to get 2 shots in before backing off again once he caught up. After 1 hour, we finally get our first checkpoint and we both celebrate. We both celebrate a lot. I clean up the guys in the bridge again, and now we get our saving grace. The third effect from that skip earlier is that if you do it, the level ends in this room instead of you having to go to the hangar with Keyes, skipping another probable 2 or 3 hours of pure pain. It still took me 2.5 hours to do this entire level though. On to the next one. Storming the beach in this level is always fun, but it's never felt as bombastic as this time. I actually miraculously managed to clear the entire beach while keeping 3 Marines alive. Moving on with a full Warthog felt good. And after getting out some road rage, we come across an encounter I know a lot of you were waiting for. This is gonna be tough. As I battle to the death with these guys, please consider subscribing and hitting the like button. You won't see intense gameplay like this anywhere else. Jervalen, eat your heart out. I want to hurry up to the flood introduction at this point, so let's move on to my favorite part of every Halo CE playthrough, doing this little jump. It's just so fun. I do a little cheese by having this guy hit me up into the cloaking so I can get most of the way back up, and then it took me just 15 more minutes to do the last section. There isn't much interesting to show, so let's keep moving. This level was 50 minutes long. Speaking of not much interesting, I do not like doing this level in challenge runs, because 2 Betrayals is effectively the exact same level, but harder, so I like saving myself for that one. There's a trick to jump off this bridge like 2 minutes into this level, and it despawns everything and lets you walk through the rest of the level with no problem. I did that. It took me half an hour to get the trick and then slowly trek through the level. It's showtime. A Halo CE run of mine does not truly begin until this level. At least we have a Magnum still. Moving quickly into the first flood room, some of you may remember from my other Halo CE videos that the enemies start getting stuck in the walls here. Well, with hunters, when they get stuck in the walls just in the right way, they're kinda invincible and can still shoot you. The only way to kill these guys is to get close to them and have them wiggle out of the walls, which is terrifying to do. You just spent around 5 minutes throwing grenades and fighting the ones that come out of this room, and now there's like 5 of them stuck in the ceiling and the walls, and you just have to walk in and hope they don't wiggle out in a way that pushes you into others, blocks you in, or just shoots you instantly. Oops! Time to start the whole room again. Do this for 3 rooms with 32 hunters in each without dying, and guess what? You still don't get a checkpoint. Not yet. You get this. The door opens, and you see all these guys. Now, you need to clear out this hallway, including the 8 to 10 of them stuck in the ceiling. Checkpoint now? Nope. Now, you need to slowly check left and right simultaneously, and one by one, kite guys down here until, finally, you get a checkpoint. You can always tell how happy I am to get a checkpoint based on how incomprehensible the footage is right after I get it. I ride this high up into the next room, which has way more enemies than normal when I get a checkpoint, but I am not complaining at all. I'm not even that mad when I accidentally go into the dead-end elevator like I do every single time. After a few more tries, I get another checkpoint, then another, down the elevator. I am flying through this level. I see a potential boost to skip a few rooms and try to get flung up. Seems like it should work, so I keep trying a few more times. Oh, sorry, did the video cut out? Well, that's because that's the exact second my power cut out. My power only bumped for a second, but it was enough to turn my PC off. Horrified, I boot up the game again, and my progress was saved. Thank God. I get back to it, and on my first attempt trying to skip it again, I get sent up no problem, do some dodging, and get in. Literally no problem at all. Sneaking in here, I'm able to get a checkpoint. Now that I've practiced, you can see my mastery of the hunter boost. Deftly done to arrive flawlessly at the other elevator dead end you don't need to go to. So instead, I do the same thing, but in the correct place. Now, look at this insane dodging to get to the elevator out of here. Holy shit. We are in the clear now, right? Right? Well, I thought the trigger to end this level was just getting to the structure out here, but it turns out that 343 only saves you once all of the sentinels are dead. So, after getting chased by 32 guys jumping off a cliff at you, and then running for your life until you have 1 second of safety, now you're in a real horror game. You have to sneak around the swamp and randomly kill hunters until you happen to kill the specific 10 that make up the Sentinel squad. This is super boring footage, so I'll just let you know that it took me 45 more minutes, but I did it. The entire level actually only took me a grand total of 3 hours. I was expecting way more. It would have been more had I not clutched that first flood room on my 3rd try. Okay, I am such a freak. I am always so excited for the library in these challenges. There's something about it I find so fun. It's the perfect balance of having to run by stuff and being forced to fight. It's open, but it still has some cover. There's high ground to play with, and there's always some cheeky skips you can do. It's just so much fun to me. Starting off this level, I remember the lesson everyone learned watching Game of Thrones Season 6, Episode 9. Do not just run straight ahead. You gotta zigzag. Yes, I just referenced Game of Thrones in the Big 2-6. Doing that run successfully gets me here. So, yeah, that looks fucking tough. I don't know what to do, so I guess time to do some thinking. Turns out, if you jump over this wall right at the start, you skip that gigantic group that just killed me. After taking care of the 5 or so guys here, I need to go back and get 343 moving to keep the level working, but this time, the huge group does not spawn, and I get my first checkpoint. I always love seeing these bunch of guys spawn in the ground on all my Halo CE runs. It looks extra goofy this time. I even extremely successfully grabbed this overshield with only taking a little bit of damage. It's a long run without getting a checkpoint to get to the elevator, but it's doable, especially with my extra health. Soon, I'm being told to wait and hold my position, and then it's not too long until I can jump by a couple more big groups to get to this sneaky little path, which bypasses some spawns. Here, I do a grenade jump so bad that the game spawns a hunter above my head as punishment. When I successfully grenade jump through that door, I am met with these guys. Amazingly, a few attempts later, I happen to get a checkpoint right when I hit the ground, a few frames before the group spawns. I'm able to run by them without aggroing them, so now I only need to worry about this hallway. Oh my god, this hallway. I needed to cheese the angles to make sure they would hit something else, and especially on the way out, where I wasn't ever sure if I got all of them. This is when I first resorted to just shooting them over and over in the neck area until they died. Extremely slow, and if they had an angle on me, I had to be extra careful. My first attempt was 31 minutes long and died like this. After that, I just went reckless for a while because I was pissed off, and managed to get a glimpse of just a few of the guys I am trying to kill. This makes me certain that I just need to rush out and not spend another 30 minutes to die again. It only takes like 5 minutes and I get this exit. I'm not free yet though, I need to get past this group shooting at me, run down the entirety of this hallway with them at my back, then, look at the radar here, a bunch spawn in around me, I narrowly escape with one following me so I take it out, then it's a simple 1v3 to get the elevator, but I am so scared at this point that I psych myself out and die. It's not too many more attempts though, and I'm back on it and making good progress. Until I hit the worst looking obstacle of this run yet. This hallway. That is a big ol' classic group of 32 hunters. A bunch stuck in the wall way at the end of this long, tight, and straight hallway with no cover. And here is where I finally directly talk about the biggest difference between the Halo CE hunters and the future ones. In this game, they don't shoot a beam that really only kills you if it hits you directly. In this game, they shoot a bomb that does a lot of splash damage. It wouldn't be too tough to dodge the beams from future games in this hallway. In fact, those were my favorite parts of the Halo 2 and 3 versions of this challenge. But now, even if they miss, they could hit slightly behind me, or one of the walls behind me, and I am still dead. I actually thought I was going to have to give up here when I saw it for the first time. There is no skipping this hallway too, it is mandatory. It turns out, though, that this hallway is so long that you can just slowly chip away at them until they die. After that, it's just a matter of finessing the few in the ceiling, and then you can start the actual hard part. There's just as many guys outside this tunnel as there were last time. But this time, I don't have a checkpoint right before, so I can just throw myself at it. If I were to attempt to just jump out here, I would have to do 8 minutes of slow killing each time I failed. There was no way I was ever doing that, so I needed to just focus up and not die ever again. I cannot express to you how stressed I was once I started needing to poke my head out to kill the guys around the exit. Then, I finally leave the hallway and still don't get a checkpoint. 2 more 1v1s, and these are intense, still no checkpoint. I walk everywhere, but the only way is forward. I stop and I wait out this 343 animation. Still no checkpoint. I keep going forward. Then, guys spawn all around me. Still no checkpoint. I have to run away. Still no checkpoint. I'm getting shot at. Still no checkpoint. They're chasing me. Still no checkpoint. Whoa. Okay. I can't keep playing scared. Okay. Okay, he's down. Okay. Holy shit. Oh my god. That was maybe the fastest my heart has ever went in one of these challenges. After this is a few sections of running by stuff that only took a few tries. Then I got to the part where you're locked in a small room with a bunch of flood, and this was way easier than I expected. A ton of grenades does the trick, and I got this done on my first try. Some more hallways, an elevator, a grenade jump to skip another hell hall, and we've arrived at the final group in the level, the one I showed in the intro. It does take a while, but I get there, and we end up beating the library with a final time just over 3 hours. These levels are getting longer. I hope that doesn't keep happening. We finally start a level without a sniper or a magnum. This is going to be extra hard now. So, we make our way outside, we go up here, and we grab a sniper and a magnum. Uh-oh! Is this easy mode now? Well, for a while, yeah. I get down the ziggurat, do the first objective, and get through 4 of these rooms, 2 of these hallways, and 1 of these bridges in about 20 minutes. It was going so smooth until I ran into this. Pardon me. So, time to finally slow down and kill some stuff. Just kidding. Screw you. You think I can't get by these guys? Check this one out. Awesome. No checkpoint, but these guys are unloaded now, right? Well, kinda. They're still there and won't move, but if one is looking at me, they can shoot. And if I get close and load them, they will charge. So I take it slow and kill a few until I get the checkpoint I wanted. Now it's time to actually slow down, and it's the longest single checkpoint in the game yet. These bridges. The bridge I am crossing is covered in hunters, and the one across from me has half a dozen or so as well, just patrolling around to snipe you from the side. It's rare to be able to get an angle to shoot one in the back, and you can't really go and fight them head on, so for a while it was a case of slowly shooting them all in the face until I get them. This didn't work though, so I started chucking grenades. This also sucked, so when I died, I ended up asking for a boost across to the other bridge. I try just gunning it, it doesn't work. I jump over again, and this time I slowly kill every hunter on my bridge while staying hidden from the others. I make it to the other side and manage to quickly parkour up this glass and get back onto the main bridge. After a tight 2v1, I am safe on the other side, but I know that I can't keep going. There is a trigger on this bridge that I need to hit to keep the logic of the mission going. Bad news is, this is the trigger I need to hit. Yup. So I need to somehow manage to hit that trigger and survive. I realize doing the skip I did and getting it from the back is not a good idea. I would either need to run towards them and die, or run back into the bridge full of hunters I didn't kill and die. So, I need to clear out every single hunter on both bridges before I can even try to hit that trigger. My first attempt goes surprisingly well. I managed to escape down the bridge and am able to take out a lot of them from long range. I needed to be careful though. Randomly, every once in a while, a couple of them would run up to me and I had to deal with them. So I had to stay vigilant. I'm down to the last 2 and they start charging. And instead of taking them head on, I decide to run all the way back to potentially stay at long range. Bad idea. I make one small mistake and lose 43 minutes of progress. Tough. But I have to get back to it. The next good attempt is 26 minutes long before I die. Next one, I get in my stride and am able to get the bridge cleared to hit the trigger in less than 10 minutes. 15 minutes later, and I'm not making the same mistake again. I take this 2v1 head on this time, finally clearing every single hunter off this bridge. I'm now in what I would call bucket mode, and am determined to just run by everything and get to the end of this level as fast as possible. Thankfully, these guys in the elevator can't quite hit me, so I can run through some more stuff and get to a vehicle section. Thank God. I breeze by the next few areas, finally doing the second objective, and getting down into this part where there's a pretty familiar setup here, a bridge with a huge spawn point halfway down. I was thinking this would be awful, but it turns out they decided to basically form a single file line and one by one slowly walk into my vision with their backs turned comically towards me. I'm not kidding, I just stood here and they kept coming. It's hilarious. Anyway, I get to the end of this bridge, and it happens again, and I die. So, I get them lining up again, and this time I'm able to spawn them and not aggro them all. So, I slowly walk around the other side of the chasm and pick them all off one by one with no danger. Perfect. I don't miss any, and make it to the final run. It's pretty simple from here. I pick up a ghost they couldn't enter, make my way to the Banshee, and take that to the final area. We're still slowly creeping upwards in mission length. This one was 3 hours and 40 minutes long. Thankfully, when Keys was asked if he wanted this level to be longer than the previous, he said, double it and give it to the next level. So, we won't be spending forever on this one, even though we don't spawn with a Magnum or a Sniper again. I did restart this level from the beginning twice, though. Let me explain. First, I used the cloaking at the start to get as far into the level as I could, because after this bunch of hunters is a sniper. I spend half an hour running by everything until I get to the grav lift and remember something awful. There are hunters I need to kill that spawn on the cliffs and I can't reach them. So, I come up with an idea. I restart the level, but I turn on the Sputnik skull to make me knocked further by enemies and explosions. I then spend another half an hour doing crazy shenanigans to try to get the sniper, and also hit every trigger I need to hit, and also kill all the guys on the cliff. It doesn't end up working very well, and I eventually find a very important piece of intel. You know, we've gone this whole run without seeing my arch nemesis, Tall Hunter. Well, I found out where he is. And to get there, we're gonna have to restart the level again. This time, we're not leaving the ship. I clear out all of the hunters I can on the ship, and then I go over to this shield. After many failed attempts, many close attempts, and one where I get stuck, I am able to land on the seam I'm aiming for, and attempt the jump. Or fall off right away. Back to the clip. This time, I make the jump, but psych myself out and adjust too much. The next time, I make it and I don't think about it and just go for it. Jumping backwards, I find myself in the bridge. I have skipped the entire outdoor section. I go to the spot I was told in the intel I received, and there we go. We have now infiltrated the Tall Hunter Factory. We can now dismantle their production from the inside and never have to worry about another Tall Hunter again. Even taking down a prototype extra Tall Hunter. After reveling in my final victory against my arch enemy, I trivially run past the last few hunters and finish this level to move on to the final one in the trilogy. Oh boy, this one is a doozy and will take some explaining. This level simply does not contain a sniper or a magnum. The only rockets are right before the engine room near the end of the level. If I am going to do this, I need to figure out a way to get through the entire level with just grenades and an AR. It starts off wonderfully with a bunch spawning in the smallest tunnel in the game, and I need to kite them out one by one and kill them with the AR. Next up is jumping down a hole into about 10 of them. They are all around you and there is no defense, so you basically have to run if you don't want to just blindly grenade down this vent for an hour. So, we run, and pretty quickly we run into this door that breaks open and spills out with 32 of them. I want to stress how actually impossible this specific situation feels. I had no clue what to do. These guys were even hitting the gritty on me. It seemed impossible. I thought maybe I should mod in a Magnum just to make it possible. And then I remembered, this is the last mission in the trilogy. I cannot compromise now. I do not care how, if I need to use glitches or whatever, I just need to get to the end of the mission on this version of the mod. So, I looked up some glitches, and I found that you can clip out of bounds using the door that busts open. I do a couple of times, but if I want to do anything, I have an issue. When using the original graphics, you can't see anything out of bounds. But if we switch to bad graphics, then we would be able to see stuff to jump on. I usually compile my maps with the option to switch graphics turned off because I don't want to accidentally see any of that, but now I actually do. So I recompile the map with the ability to switch graphics, and now it's time to go sicko mode. It's time to just unironically learn the speedrun strats for this level. Now, on a normal speedrun, this door clip is pretty trivial. There's a consistent setup, and then you just need to make sure you practice with jumping out of bounds. In this mod, this is the least consistent thing I've ever attempted. First, even getting to the door on any attempt is tough, because you need to drop down this hole and dodge every single one of these hunters along the way. This is not trivial and not perfectly consistent. You need to adjust on the fly every attempt. And then, if you make it, the 32 hunters spawn before the door breaks. So if one clips to this side of the door, too bad, instant fail. Does one spawn above you? Too bad, now you fall and die. Does one spawn too close to the other side of the door? Well, he can just hit you away then. That guy is almost always there, just hitting you away. Then, if you aren't immediately cucked by any of those guys, now you have half a second to realize you have to deal with the 3 or 4 that are up there out of bounds with you. They will immediately hit you off if you're not instantly moving to the next corner of the hallway. There is a tiny chance you will get far enough to be able to comfortably stand up here for more than a second. Then, you need to make sure you're not standing still for 2 seconds or you'll get shot. Make sure to jump to the right spots to not fall through the ceiling back in bounds, and also not be hit by these 2 guys who are always up there. Once you get past all of that, you can dance around here hoping to get a checkpoint and not fall down. It took me 7 hours to get this clip and the first checkpoint. I'm not kidding. A new record for a single checkpoint in one of my challenges. Then, I spent another 5 learning the jumps across the cafeteria roof. Something that speedrunners do on command while under pressure at the end of a run. It got me thinking about how incredible speedrunners and players like Jervalen are. I'm not great at these games, but there is one thing about me that makes this channel possible, that makes me repeatedly jump up an elevator surrounded by jackal snipers, that makes me spend 4 hours killing Adjutant Resolution with just a grapple shot twice, that makes me beat every mission in the Halo Trilogy with every single enemy as a hunter. It's tenacity. I will not give up unless it's in Halo Reach, and I promise you that. Just look at how excited I am to get this checkpoint after an entire week of spending my evenings after work doing this. I made it through the last couple of hallways to get my rocket launcher and finish this fight. The engine room falls easily, and the Warthog run has never felt like more of a victory lap in my entire life. Blasting through all of these guys was pure bliss. Getting to the end, I can finally say that I have beaten every level in the Halo Trilogy with every enemy turned into a hunter. Thank you for watching.